Doug Karsch, Scott Anderson. So Tyrese Halliburton comes out and says, I'd do it all over again. But the NBA seems to have a growing problem with the blown Achilles injury, and there's theories floating around. And look, I think it's the shoes. I think it's the high tops.
But they don't wear them.
They don't wear them anymore. In fact, I just texted my son, who just finished playing high school basketball, about whether or not he'd ever wear high top shoes. And I haven't heard back just yet. I have heard back.
Okay.
What do they look like?
I mean, right?
That's what he said.
Why is that the first thing?
Well, I cared. I cared, and I think they should care,
like,
but
like the first thing for me is are they going to fit right? Am I going to feel comfortable in them?
Yeah, and that's an old man talking right there.
I suppose. I mean, certainly I do care about the style. I'm not like some idiot who's just going to wear orthopedic shoes just because they feel good, right? They do have to look good, and I understand it. But I don't know when this happened where they switched from high tops to low tops. But I just went on Nike's website just for the hell of it, and then I'm looking up basketball shoes,
dude.
And
good luck finding a pair of high tops.
They're all low top shoes.
You can get sort of 3/4, but the high tops that we grew up with.
Yeah, no.
I mean, look,
I will say this: the styles are awesome. We didn't have any of this stuff to go through. It would be amazing, but I want to make sure my feet and my ankle that they're going to be in good shape here.
Exactly. 248-539-9797. Anyway, interesting discussion. Let's get to some of the feedback coming in here. There was a theory that the new move in basketball leads to Achilles injuries is the negative step to blow by a defender, apparently taught on AAU ball. That's from Kevin.
Yeah, it's kind of like what happened to Halliburton. When you step back to get that forward motion going, like to spring yourself forward, that's when it can rupture. That's why I go to my theory about these guys are too finely tuned like athletes. They're just too much.
Yeah.
Too much muscle.
They used to be like NASCARs, and now they're like Indy cars.
Yes.
NASCARs can bump into one another. They can rub up against the wall. Indy car, you go wheel to wheel, it's going to be a problem more often than not.
Yeah, I needed to speak your language.
That works, yeah. I'll say this, when I play basketball, I don't blow out my Achilles. Just saying.
Yeah, you can't tear non-muscle.
Yeah, I can't do that. I just don't do the negative step. Fully agree with the sports car analogy. These current athletes are in a margin of speed BS injury that no one's ever been in. Same thing in the NFL. Just as 23 players on IR for the just as in 23 players on the IR for the Lions. It is the shoes. There's a foot doctor that just came out with a video a couple days ago that completely explained why people tear their Achilles more. It's because the heel drops in the shoes.
My innie was really pissed at me. He went to work, and he's like in a boot. He's like, what happened? He sent me a note. What the hell happened? Or a video, actually. I had to explain to him I was wearing low tops.
King, that was one of the developments when you were gone. He finished Severance in less than a week, both seasons.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. What'd I say?
I didn't expect it.
It got good.
I didn't expect it.
Yeah, but I thought you had to figure it out after 2 episodes.
I'm not going to I figured a lot of it out. I did figure a lot of it out.
Did you?
But yeah, I did. But there's so much more to come in season 3.
No kidding.
Now I'm waiting for season 3. Yeah. It wasn't anything over my head. It was just kind of,
Brian is next on 97.1 The Ticket. Hi, Brian.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Long-time listener.
All right, great.
First-time caller.
And what made you call?
I'm a podiatrist.
Oh, here we go.
And I'm also a huge sneakerhead, so I'm into shoes. And I've recently seen all these injuries professional basketball players have. And you were talking about the difference between low tops and high top shoes. High top shoes really don't make that much of a difference with these Achilles injuries. It's usually the anatomy is such that there's what's called a watershed area, meaning that part of the Achilles tendon doesn't get enough circulation or blood flow to it, and it's prone to snapping. And that's what usually happens with these injuries. So it really doesn't make a difference what kind of shoes you wear.
Why do we have more of them today than we used to have?
That's a good question. A lot of it could be, training, and a lot of it could be the stress over all these games. You're putting a stress on that area, and the NBA season is long and grueling, and that could be a reason why as well. But
okay, so the story there's this. I just want to bring up, because you know more about this than I do. Clearly, right. The story in For the Win, which is an offspin of USA Today, is that there was a 2010 clinical study which concluded the type of footwear can affect Achilles tendon loading during dorsiflexion. According to the research, high-top shoes reduces tension on the Achilles tendon by 9.9%. With the laces tied up, high-top shoes can cut peak dorsiflexion angle by 7.2% as compared to low-top sneakers. Does that mean anything, or is that just mumbo-jumbo?
That does, but that's a 2010 study. Some of the newer studies that I've been reading,
okay.
I don't know them offhand. I'm driving in my car right now.
Yeah, no.
But a lot of the studies that I've read about suggest there's no difference between a low top and a high top shoe. The only difference is the high top shoe does give you a little bit more support and a little bit better of support along the lateral ankle ligaments, so you're less likely to sprain your ankle a little bit. But the reason why these pros go with a low-top shoe is you get more motion across that ankle joint, which makes you move a lot faster and more efficiently.
All right, hold on. Kang's got a question for you.
Brian, do they talk about this at the podiatrist conferences with the shoes and then the foot injuries?
Of course.
Yeah. Yep. And like basketball and professional athletes, things like that? With the shoes and the injuries?
Yeah, well, we do a lot. I do a lot of sports injuries and of that nature. But yeah, our conferences, we do address a lot of the concerns, especially that pop up now with injuries like that. Any kind of injuries, really.
Hey, thank you, Brian. Appreciate the intel. 248-539-9797. Joe in a car yard 97 on a ticket. Hi, Joe.
Hey guys, great show. Hey, listen, I think low tops are okay, but you have to tape. I even tape with high tops. So it supports the ankle and the whole bottom of the foot. So I'd like to understand if I didn't see any tape around Tyrese's foot, and I think a lot of the players forego the taping and they use the low top, and it really puts a lot of pressure on it.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I understand that it's you feel restricted when you have the ankles taped up, that you don't feel like you're moving as quickly. And as somebody who taped his ankles before every football practice and every football game, I get that. But if you've never taped your ankles before and you do it one time, you're like, oh, forget this. You're just not giving yourself a chance, because it just takes a while before that tape kind of breaks in. It still supports you, but it becomes, more malleable and you're more free running with the taped ankles than you expect it to be. I think you're probably right that players just don't get taped up as much.
I'm with you, Gator. I think the first couple steps when you step down and you have that sucks, right?
Yes.
But after a couple of strides, it's already loosening up and still protects you. I just think the low top, it should be taped, and quite honestly, even the high top, but especially the low top. Thanks, guys.
I appreciate it, Joe. Why all the Achilles injuries? We read the story with all the theories. We're coming back to whether or not somebody needs to get themselves some old school Nike Legends pony IDs that you could tie up the ankle. We go to Nick. You're next. Hi, Nick.
Hey, guys. I have a lot to add to this. Did you guys notice that Isaiah Stewart signed with a company called Zero?
I did not.
So that's actually a barefoot shoe company. So the Achilles issue, from all the YouTube research I've done, has to do with the heels that come in every shoe, because every shoe has a gradient heel, and barefoot shoes, which Zeros are, have a zero drop, so they're flat all the way across. Over time, constantly wearing shoes with any kind of gradient heel shortens and weakens your Achilles tendon. So, of course, basketball players have been wearing basketball shoes with large heels to support the contact that they're making with the ground. But conversely, it's shortening and weakening their Achilles tendon, so that's why there's so many injuries in basketball for Achilles injuries.
But this has, I guess, my counter to that is, it feels like, or it seems like over the last few years, the Achilles injury has become more prominent. I mean, guys have been playing basketball forever. The shoes have been, with the gradient or whatever with the heel for a long time now, and it wasn't a problem. So why is it now a problem where it wasn't a problem 10 years ago?
Well, maybe that has to do with guys that are playing basketball constantly. Because as we know, youth sports, you're committing to one sport and you're playing it all day, all night. 11 months out of the year they say, but it's 12. So
that might have something.
Maybe that has to do with it.
Appreciate it. In fact, we got a ticket text here that says one sport athletes. It's because of one sport athletes.
That could be.
I got to tell you, every once in a while, we bring up something on the air. We expect to get a little out of it. We got way more out of that than I expected. Got a lot of foot experts out there. I'm intrigued by these Isaiah Stewart Zero shoes. I just looked it up.
There's no question you would be.
Why does this feel like an insult?
What?
Why are you?
Because I think we've seen this before where there were like the sandals or the shoes. It's just basically, it looks like the outline of a foot.
Yeah,
and I think you've said something about that before.
Like those. No, I thought that was weird. I don't want to see your foot. Nor do I want to show you mine. 248-539-9797.